Hey everybody, welcome to this quick tips for engagement, how you can increase engagement in your classroom as part of the MET Winter Rally. So I'm Daniel Mars, I am the director of MET. I'm also a learning area delegate to MACUL, plus on the side, my main job is state, federal, and grant programs for Coloma Community Schools as well as instructional technology. Co-founded the Lake Michigan Tech Conference. We're taking a little bit of a hiatus right now, and there's some contact information on there for me as well if you need to reach out and get in touch. So, a couple underlying beliefs I need to start this with is that all students learn. Not all students can learn, but they learn from everything that we're doing. They learn their importance. So if we're not taking the time to connect with all of our kids or engage them, they're learning that what you are doing is probably not as important as you think it is. Effort affects learning outcomes as much as intellectual ability. Teacher belief in student outcome greatly impacts learning outcomes. That's right from Hattie. That's the biggest effect size in all of that visible learning work. And then schools are centers of learning instead of centers of teacher performance. So defining engagement, this presentation is going to be heavily based on the work of Dr. Schlechty. Dr. Phillip C. Schlechty defines engagement as attentiveness, commitment for intrinsic value, their drive for something greater than a grade, persistence in the face of obstacles, and finds value in the meaning of work. You guys want to know where kids are engaged? Think video games. It's all there, super easy for us to see. Keep in mind, this isn't you, right? There's a nice Gallup poll that found that basically it was 2015 pre-pandemic, but there was a decline in self-reported engagement levels of students that makes it seem that the longer they are in our K-12 educational system, the less interested they feel in what they learn, the less fun they have, and the less they feel they get to tap into their own skills and abilities. So that can be found in Learning Transformed. That's a Gallup poll. If you've read any Sir Ken Robinson, that's all the same topics that he brings up as well. It's an ongoing issue that we've had, and this was pre-COVID. Coming out of COVID, it's even worse. So this whole presentation is going to be how can we do this and how can we get our kids engaged in our work, and there are 10 design qualities from Schlechty's work. First, product focus, right? The 3 Ps, performance, publish, product, right? Are these kids performing something? What do they have to show, right? Publish, are we publishing it somewhere? And the product. Now, granted, you can't do this for everything. I totally get that. But what you can do is start to look for different ways that you can have them do that. So product focus is that first one. Next, content and substance. Not all kids want to learn our content. We know that. So how do we frame that content in a way that's meaningful to them? And you think about what drives those kids to learn and how can we get them engaged with what we want them to be doing. That's a little bit of work on our part. Organization of knowledge. How is the content organized? Are we going at a level that they don't quite understand yet? Can we provide multiple paths to a final outcome? Is it scaffolded? How extreme is our depth of knowledge? If you're asking the kids to do a level 4 Webb's depth of knowledge question, but they only have to look up that first part for level 1, there's a whole missing gap. You need to build those skills up for them. So just going 0 to 100 is not going to be beneficial for our kids. So when we talk about this organization of knowledge, this is exactly what we need to focus on, is we need to focus on how can we build our kids up. Clear and compelling, right? We need to be clear and compelling in what we're asking our kids to do. One easy way for us to do is provide examples. Can we show the kids what we expect? I know that people are like, well, if I show them what I expect, that's all they're ever going to do. Well, they need to know their destination. When I pull up a map on Google Maps and I need to know where I'm driving to, I can look to see the actual street I'm going to be driving on. That's huge for me to get to where I want to go, right? If you're worried about them doing the exact same thing, show them something parallel. I always did that. We were learning about the Greeks. Here's how this presentation would look if it's about the Romans. Here's how this website would be developed if it was about the Aztecs or the Mayans. It's easy for us to do. Provide them with clear rubrics that explain how they get there. And you got to give them the right feedback too. They thrive on feedback. They do. We'll get there. Protection from adverse consequences. Our kids don't mind failing. They mind being punished for failing. So how can we open up and allow our kids the exploration that they deserve in their education to learn from their mistakes? We always say you learn from your mistakes, right? Don't learn from a 0 in the grade book, though. Don't learn from getting an F and not having a chance to redo it. They don't want to be graded for their first attempts in learning. They want a chance. If they are connected to what you're asking them to do and you're giving them proper feedback to help them grow, they want to do it. Got to have that relationship too, but that's a whole different story. Right? Affiliation. We want our kids to work together. Group work can drive engagement. That's a fact, right? But it can't be 5 individuals combining pieces for one final product. We'll probably have to take time to teach our kids how to collaborate and collaborate effectively for this to work. But if they are problem solving and coming together to solve a big problem, they're going to be engaged with the work. Affirmation, this is that feedback piece. How can they improve? That's what they want to know. Circling a wrong word or saying, hey, this isn't quite up to my standards, doesn't help them. I know teachers are overburdened. I know everybody's overworked. I know it's incredibly hard to do that. And I know that a lot of the systems we're using, like Google Classroom, aren't set up that way, right? It's great that I can have a list of all the comments I can give a kid and I can copy and paste it, but that's not what our kids need. They need that feedback. That game over screen motivates them. They go to YouTube. They look how to get past that boss in that level. Huge part of it, right? That's huge. And that's what they want. They want that feedback. How can I improve? How can I get better at this? It will drive them to do better, right? Putting a grade on a piece of paper without concrete feedback, where does that go? It goes in the recycling bin on the way out of class, and they never think about it or look at it again. Forcing them to get better gets them better and engaged. Novelty and variety, right? Change it up. Too much of a good thing is not always a good thing. We want variety in our lessons, our teaching styles, our outcomes, and our flow, right? You have to find a way to make it so that these kids don't know what to expect. Now, this isn't an indictment on routines. Routines are important. I had routines, right? Every single day the kids came into class, they did the same thing to kick us off while I took care of all my basics, and then we would move into something different. But we would always have same parts of it. We'd always have the same thing happening at different parts in our class period so that they knew. We'd always come together at the midpoint. We'd always come together at the end to close it out, right? But in between, it's anybody's guess what we were doing that day. Choice. There's many ways to skin a cat, I've been told. Never tried it personally, but with that same idea, there's many ways to teach a standard. So why does everyone have to do the same thing? If I look at a standard and I can think, oh, wow, I can have my kid demonstrate that 7 different ways, why don't I give my kids 7 different options to demonstrate it? Provide multiple routes to that destination. Choice boards, choice board bingo, those types of things are great. Hey, pick 3 things off of these 9 to demonstrate that you understand this concept. They have a choice to go to their strengths, to go to their interests, and to go to their abilities. All right? At a different time, force them to do one that they aren't comfortable with. That comes with relationship and getting to know your kids, and that can drive them to be engaged. Authenticity. Focus on stuff that means things, right? I'm a social studies teacher. Studying the battles of the Civil War, not extremely useful. Probably studying the concepts and the cultural phenomenon around that, how people were acting, behaving, how the public took it, might engage our kids. Challenge them to do, hey, can you do a 30-second video on this topic in the Civil War? Probably get them going a little bit quicker because they can do it. Recognize the shoes that our students are in and design from there. I don't know your situation. I don't know where you work. I know my kids. Connecting with them on some high and mighty, we're all going to college thing is not going to necessarily meet the needs of a lot of our kids. A lot of our kids don't want to go to college. They want to go into the career workforce. Start from there. Look at your project-based learning, your challenge-based learning, and your inquiry-based learning to get that done. If you have questions, please let me know. My contact information is there. Plus, join us at the MACUL for the Mets rally and the Appy hour following that on March 16th. Hopefully we'll see you there.